Gone are the days where we write up a quick resume and walk into the company and hand it over to them. Hiring is a lot more complex now. Things have changed. Hello friends, I'm AshleyStahl, career coach, host of the U-Turn podcast, and author of the book also named U-Turn. Get unstuck, discover your direction, design your dream career. As a career expert, I've seen a lot of resumes, some great and some not so great. And I'm not just talking about spelling mistakes, though I see a lot of that too. I'm talking about resumes full of neon colors, resumes long enough to be a novel, resumes with partying pictures, the worst resume mistake you can make of all, Comic Sans font. Yep, that's my first tip, never use Comic Sans. And if you take away anything from this video, remember not to use Comic Sans on a resume. But in all seriousness, I never blame my clients for having bad resumes. They've likely never been taught what a good resume looks like, how to make it, or what technology to use. Hey, if you've never learned, how are you supposed to know? With that, let's talk about 7 of the most common resume mistakes so you can avoid them and land that interview. Number 1, creative templates. Okay, so I'm about to tell you something that may come as a surprise. On average, recruiters spend 6 seconds looking at your resume. They know exactly what they're looking for. You don't want them to be distracted by an artsy-looking template that you think will impress them. It's likely it's gonna go right in the trash, and that's assuming that a real person is even looking at your resume. Resumes flow through something called applicant tracking software before it even hits a human's eyes to look at it. Applicant tracking systems quickly scan and disqualify candidates that don't meet the job requirements. In fact, 75% of resumes are disqualified by the ATS system before they even reach a hiring manager. So why am I telling you this? If you try to use a creative or artsy template, it'll most likely be unreadable by the applicant tracking system, and you'll never even be considered for an interview. I like pretty things as much as anyone does, but let's not make an easily avoidable mistake. And one thing's for certain, don't include a photo of yourself on your resume if you're based in the United States of America, though in Europe, this is a common practice. Number 2, keep it to 1 page. Unless you have over 8 years of work experience, your resume should definitely stick to 1 page. Your resume is a document meant to highlight your relevant experience, not a book you're writing that regurgitates everything you've ever done. Hiring managers don't read a long resume. The research confirms that they barely make it to the 2nd page anyway. So if you do have a 2nd page, be sure to put your resume header on that 2nd page too. Number 3, be sure the font size is 11 or bigger. If you have a lot to say, I know that your natural inclination would be to make the font size teensy-weensy smaller, but I want to stress that you shouldn't do this. Making your font any smaller than size 11 will make your resume really hard to read, and even the data says that fonts smaller than size 11 result in less job interviews. Number 4, no cutesy colors or fonts. I know we love cute resumes, but hiring managers and definitely applicant tracking systems do not. I've already gone over not to use Comic Sans, but I would use the more boring fonts such as Arial, Times New Roman, and Sans Serif. And please, please, please only use black ink. Number 5, don't overdo it with the margins. If your resume is too long, another inclination is to extend your margins on the right and left of the page. Extending them a little bit won't hurt if you just need to fit a few more lines onto your page, but the employer will notice if it's overdone, and an applicant tracking system might not even be able to read it. Number 6, be sure your employment dates are readable. 27% of recruiters will trash a resume if they can't find your employment dates. If they can't find them, they might assume you're trying to hide an employment gap. And even if you do have an employment gap, it's better to be transparent. This looks like showing the starting month and year as well as the ending month and year for each job. Be specific versus saying things like summer 2019 or even worse, 2019. Number 7, keep your bullet points at 6 or less. Surveys show that hiring managers are looking for short and to-the-point descriptions and results of positions you've held. I totally understand that you might want to explain as much as you can to impress the heck out of them, but the best way is to be forthright. We're not writing a novel here, people. I promise you, if you avoid these common resume mistakes, your number of interviews can go up and fast. You don't want to jeopardize your chance at an amazing job just because of a couple small tweaks you can make on your resume. And remember, all it takes is for one yes to get the job you love.